Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our heroic super guide for the Curator. We're going to look at how to beat him with every single hero class and even a deck of basic and common cards only. Now, the Curator is on the easy-ish side for a heroic boss. He has an interesting mechanic where his face has taunt. And what this means is you can easily get overrun because your minions can't trade with his minions. He can get favorable trades when he wants, or just keep going face. So he's on the easiest side, so in general you can just beat him with powerful decks. You need to get a bit lucky. There's obviously, he has a lot of RNG cards when he summons random Murlocs, Beasts, Dragons, For a dragon he can either get a Twilight Whelp or Malagos or Sleepy Dragon, so there's a huge range. You can definitely get screwed over by RNG or life made a lot easier by RNG. But other than just running good decks, which have a chance to beat him, generally a reliable strategy is to play lots of taunt minions to force him to have to trade into your minions so that he can't just always make favorable trades and keep hitting face. If he has to trade into your minions, it's harder to get completely overrun, and you'll usually be able to get on top, as well as a bit of AoE is helpful, like he does run Power of the Wild and, has small Murlocs and stuff. Generally, things like Primordial Drakes are good to help clean up his board while, again, putting out a taunt. Let's look at the specific decks I beat him with. The deck I used at the time was an Innovate Astral Communion deck, but where all the big minions are not just the random overpowered stuff I usually put in, but almost exclusively taunt minions. I even have cards like Haga, which will keep summoning multiple taunts. And as you can look through, Haga Doom of Elwyn, as soon as that takes damage, will summon multiple taunts, etc. We have Cthulhu to help clean up his board while putting out a big threat, Cenarius to buff your things, Yasharaj to keep bringing out bigger other things. This deck actually ran Innovate and Wild Growth, which means even if you don't draw the Innovate Astral Communion combo, if he doesn't get too lucky with his early minion summoning and swarm you too quickly, you can potentially ramp up with Wild Growths, have some 5-drops like Azure Drake and Druid of the Claw, and potentially survive just by sort of ramping up a little bit and playing on curve. This is the deck I used to win with at the time. Let's move on to the next one. The Hunter deck I used was just an experimental deck that Brian Kibler happened to be running. It's nothing too special. It has a bit of secrets, has some early game with cheap minions, Crackling Razormaw to buff some of your minions, Arthas to get some Death Rattle going, even Professor Putricide makes it in, Deathstalker XR to act as AoE, and one High Main as the top end of the curve. Basically, this is just a decent all-round deck. Again, you're relying on RNG. If he gets a super big dragon out, you're probably screwed, but if he doesn't get too good a start, you can snowball with a lot of cheap minions and have a solid board yourself. Eventually stick a Nesting Rock to have some taunt for him to have to march into while you keep doing damage to his face. For Mage, I used an Exodia deck where you are running the quest and looking to get the Infinite Fireball combo from Antonidas with multiple Sorcerer's Apprentices. It is overkill. You do not need infinite damage to beat this guy, but it worked. It's what I think I just happened to have this deck at the time anyway, so basically I reused it for fun. You just need to stay alive. You're not really looking to put up taunts as much as just keep clearing his minions over and over again. Even run polymorphs to deal with like freak giant dragons or demons that might come out. You're just looking to keep stalling, keep clearing his pitiful minions. You have double Meteor even, stay alive with ice blocks and ice barriers, and eventually assemble the infinite damage combo. For Paladin, I ran a Keleseth aggro deck before Keleseth was everywhere, where you are running tons of 1-drops. It's a super aggressive deck. You're looking to buff everything with an early Prince Keleseth to make all those 1-drops even more crazy strong. You have Wickerflame Burn Bristle as a taunter to sort of stop his momentum a little bit and gain you some life. Corpse Takers serve the same role, should get the Divine Shield, and We have Sunkeeper Tarim to make your small dudes nice and big, and Spike Ridge Steed is a nice addition, putting big taunts in his way, multiple rounds of them, to slow him down from potentially killing off while you continue to swarm the board and eventually overwhelm him. Highlander Priest, you should probably know well. It is running a Doomsayer to be able to help take him out earlier. The Galactic Crawler might be unnecessary, actually. But you have a lot of tools between, you know, Spirit Lashes to heal, Greater Healing Potion to heal back up. Kazakus obviously can help you gain life or deal with his board, AoE, etc. as you want. Devour Minds gives you a lot of late game, as does Elise the Trailblazer. You have your AoE with things like Holy Nova and Dragonfire Potion. You could obviously put in Psychic Scream nowadays. You have Lyra to generate more value. Raza has since been nerfed a little bit, but you're not really, this is not the kind of matchup where you need, you know, Velen 40, you know, burst combo in one turn. You can just do lots of damage over multiple turns. He's not going to like suddenly heal up or whatnot. Shadow Reaper Anduin, obviously you're looking to get this and Raza going, and then you can just do tons of damage. You can use it to clean up his board, or if you're not at risk of dying, just go face. It's one of the earlier Highlander Priest builds where as you there's a lot of cards you don't see in it anymore once it was streamlined more, but still very effective for taking the Curator down. For Rogue, I ran a mill deck. It has Valera the Hollow in it, but it has double Doomsayer to increase your chance of just sticking that on turn 2 to slow him down. You're looking to do something like get a Bran, Cold Light out, potentially Shadow Step it, gang it up, Death Lords to slow him down, etc. Shadow Blade to be able to kill something while immune. Prince of Alinar you can get in there. Since you're not running other 4-drops, you can get some lifesteal that'll gain you more life. You have the double heal buffs, the vanishes. With preps, you can just try keep neutralizing his board, making sure he doesn't do too much damage, and eventually get enough card draw going to sort of self-sustain itself to get you even more card draw to eventually run him out of cards, mill some of his deck. You have Nazath even to bring back your Belchers. You have the Curator himself against the Curator to just reliably draw you into your Cold Light Oracles. The usual mill plan. The Shaman deck I used was a little more on the control-y side. It does have some early drops to give itself momentum. Often, you know, you're looking to pull off something like a Doppelgangster Evolve combo, will give you a huge board. Thrall Deathseer, if you do have some minions sticking, will give you a giant board and a hero power that makes it even more threatening. You have a few Jade tools between your Jade Claws, your Aya, your Jade Lightning, etc. A little bit of heal with the Jinyu Water Speaker. But again, you know, you are relying on RNG to not get completely crapped on by some giant dragon or demon out of nowhere. And things from below are taunters to help you stay alive. Often you want to get a Spirit Echo off on those. The Warlock deck I used was a reasonably defensive one. You have Mistress of Mixtures to help you heal, Tar Creeper taunts, Nazath the Corruptor to bring back some of your taunts like Belchers, and you're looking to get some mean demons out with your Void Callers pulling Doom Guards or Melganis. And eventually, you know, once you've had some demons die, you get Blood Reaver Gul'dan, then you can really stabilize because you have a hero power that can target minions and is gaining you life and brings back a bunch of demons. So if you can get that far, you should be pretty on top. The Warrior deck I ran runs quite a bit of taunt between your Tar Creepers, your Alley Armor Smiths, your Bloodhoof Braves, and your Primordial Drakes. Primordial Drake is obviously good for clearing up a board of little dudes. You have an Armor Smith. If you can hide this behind taunts like Tar Creeper, Alley Armor Smith, it can gain you a lot of life. Often, you also have Frothing Berserkers. If you can get this out behind a taunt, you have tools like Blood Razor, which can set up, you know, especially if you get it off on something like a Frothing, an Acolyte, and a taunt, draw you a card, do a bunch of damage to all the minions present, and then your Frothing Berserker can start smacking him in the face for a lot. Ravaging Ghouls act as another activator. You of course run Brawls to be able to clean up a board that gets a bit too overwhelming for you, and another Taunt, a nice late game one, the Lich King, which can give you more tools to be able to clean up his board or summon a bunch of minions, etc. A deck that's quite powerful against the Curator. Last but not least was the challenge of beating him with a deck of basic and common cards only. We built a Druid deck that is pure taunt minions, and there's good enough common and basic ones to deal with what he's doing as long as RNG doesn't completely screw you over with his random minions. You're looking to just stick taunt after taunt, force him to trade into them. You have buffers like Mark of the Wild, things like Crypt Lord, which can keep growing, Mark of the Nature. Eventually, once you stick something big, you Bone Mirror to make it even bigger. You can just keep putting taunt after taunt, and eventually when he whiffs on a draw or on his random minion summoning, you get further and further ahead. He doesn't have very cheap ways to do one damage, so things with Divine Shield like Psychotron are pretty good, and Noyatron even quite good against those early little pitiful minions he puts out. This deck of basic and common cards only, if you're looking for a budget deck, was good enough to take down the Curator in heroic mode. Good luck out there, see you next time.